So this is the last few laps of the Pleasanton Dash for Cash category 45 plus criterium up in the Dash for Cash format. Was every lap was $10. I think there was, I don't know, like 20 laps or so there was like 20 $10 preems. People were pretty aggressive going for them. I decided not to go for them because I had just raced the Pro 1-2 race just prior to this, and we were back to back. And that was 75 minutes. Pretty fast race. So the first half of this race, I just kind of floated in the back and tried to get my legs back. Try to see how many laps we have left as we go by here. This is the start-finish straight, which was a pretty stiff headwind. I missed the lap counter. It goes by pretty fast sometimes. So this was the headwind section. It's a rectangle course. The road kind of sweeps around to the right here. We got kind of a crosswind from the left to right. So usually was better to be on the right hand side. But then this right hand corner coming up, everybody kind of pinches. 90-degree right hand turn coming up here. Everybody kind of takes it kind of crazily. Everybody tries to dive bomb the inside. Usually if you just stay right in the middle, you just get floated right through. And then the road kind of sweeps around to the right up ahead here. And so this here was this was a tailwind section, so this was the fastest part of the course. You could really get some speed up on this section. The Pro 1-2 race, we were doing 35 plus here easily. This race today was kind of slow. Maybe because a lot of people had doubled up. Not sure exactly why, but we're getting into the last few laps of this race. I think I started my camera with like 5 to go. So it's pretty hardcore, and there's still preems every lap, so it tended to make the riders a little more aggressive. No brakes got away. There was a few that tried. Nothing really stuck. Looks like it was going to come down to a pack sprint, so I was just kind of trying to stay towards the front as much as I can. That's Bubba Melcher right there in the Stars and Stripes. He's about ready to put me in the cones. It's my fault. I was on his left, and I hit a cone and then dodged him to the left there. He had nowhere to go to his right, so it wasn't his fault. I shouldn't have been there. I know that the sprinters that I had to worry about in this race were Dennis Hopp from San Jose, Yutch Cowie from Thirsty Bear, that's him right in front of me there, Sean Smith from Make-A-Wish, John Fairbanks from Touchstone. You could tell the sprinters are all starting to move towards the front now, so I definitely want to stay towards the front to react to any attacks and be in a good position on the last lap. There was a pretty nasty crash on the last lap, which you'll hear on Bell Lap right behind me. I'll kind of clue you into where it was once we get to that point. So at this point, I kind of know that it's going to be a pack sprint. Nothing's really getting away. Every single person that tries to attack to go off the front, they peg it back pretty quick. I had done a lot of work in the Pro Run 2 race, so I didn't want to do a whole lot of attacking and try to get into a break in this race. It was just way too windy, and I just didn't have the legs. But it was actually pretty easy to sit in, so I was able to kind of recover. I've kind of discovered these SIS gels, which are just a godsend. Take a couple of those, you don't even have to drink water with them, they just go right down. And I use, usually in my second race, I'll take a couple swigs of pickle juice towards the end, which kind of help keep me from cramping up. You can see the speeds got really slow here. Everybody's kind of watching each other, which is fine for me. I actually prefer this because if it's still together, then it's going to be a sprint, which is pretty much all I can do. I get in a breakaway occasionally, but most of the time it's my success has come from sprinting in the pack sprints. This was actually my first race wearing the NorCal State Championship jersey. We should be coming up on the last laps here. So this finish was kind of, so it's a left, I guess it would be a right to left crosswind, so it was actually kind of beneficial to stay on the outside here, and then you could just rail through this turn and then just punch through that headwind by just staying on the wheels. Yeah, the pace is picking up. That's Dennis Hop right there in front of me. He's a pretty fast sprinter from San Jose Bike Club. So you can tell by his legs. John Fairbanks right in front of me. He races for Touchstone Racing. He's actually just coming back from a fractured femur. So the fact that he's even mixing it up in here is pretty amazing. And there's Brian Hennigan. He comes into play on the last lap. He's actually a really fast lead-out man, and Dennis is going to definitely take advantage of that. You know, when you get towards the end of a race like this, you kind of try to figure out, since you don't have any teammates, which I didn't today, try to figure out who is going to be doing a lead-out, if everybody's freelancing. I didn't quite pick up on this until halfway through the last lap, and then I noticed that Brian and Dennis had kind of teamed up and had planned to go for the lead out for the sprint, so I just very luckily happened to latch onto him, which ended up being the right move. So this is bell lap. Brian's moving to the front. Everybody's kind of, I almost ran into Yitch right there. I kind of give him a little yip, but so we're coming into this right-hand sweeper. I'm just trying to stay as close to the front as I can because I know it's going to get a little nutty. I don't know some of these guys that are racing in front of me, so I don't know what their bike handling skills are. I usually know the guys I'm racing with, but some of these guys are kind of new. I don't know this guy in the red. It's also a mixed field, so there's 55s in it with us too. So I didn't really think about it. That's Jason Boyton from Pete's. He's actually going to crash right behind me here coming up. There's a gap that's going to open so that we make this right-hand turn, and we've got a couple turns to go. We got 2 turns to go to the finish, so this sweeping turn to the right is where it gets really fast. So I want to move up here. Because I know that the wind is going to be coming. Yeah, so the Dennis King shoots through there. I shoot through. There was a crash that just happened. You could hear it behind me. So that the people closed in on behind me after I shot through that gap. So here goes Brian Hennigan. He's drilling it. He's doing 35. We've got 1 straightaway to go to the final turn. Nobody's going to come around us at 35. So Brian's just completely giving himself up. nails this turn. Dennis is going to punch it. The only reason I was able to come around Dennis was at a pretty stiff headwind, so I was right on his wheel. I click up another gear right here and slide by him. Luckily I had just enough to hold him off. He was sprinting really fast. And there it is.